Hey, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Durling. Thank you for watching. This is going to be a short little episode. It occurred to me that I've never done a Winger episode, and I've always been a fan of the band, so I thought I would fix that. This is a complete episode, but again, it is pretty short because as far as I know, only the first 3 Winger albums came out on cassette. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. First album came out in 1988. Took a few months for it to catch on, of course. The first single was Maligned, but it wasn't until they put 17 out that caught on at radio, and that's the first time I heard them, probably spring of '89. And I remember that summer on a very, very hot day, walking down to my local Sam the Record Man store and buying this cassette right here, the first Winger album on Atlantic. Artwork, of course, very obviously inspired, and Kip Winger has said as much, from Def Leppard's Hysteria album cover. It's not the same designer that did it though, but the idea of having the face on here. And what I didn't realize when I just bought cassettes was what this S-A-H-A was about down here in the bottom corner. Turns out the band was originally going to be called Sahara, but for some reason, I don't know if it was a suntan lotion company or a sunglasses company, threatened to sue them. So at the last minute, they just took Kip's last name, called themselves Winger, but the Sahara was already on the album cover. So on the record or CD, you can see that quite plainly. That's what Atlantic Cassettes looked like at this time. And 1988 was Atlantic Records' 40th anniversary, so anything that came out had this 40th on it. This brings back a lot of memories looking at this cassette. This is a Canadian edition. There's the cassette itself, a little bit faded. And it had all the lyrics and credits in it. One thing it was missing was the song Higher and Higher, which I think was the B-side of Madeleine, but it only appeared on the CD version. That was one of the first where it was like, maybe I should try to get CDs. It was a few more years before I did. Second Winger album came out in 1990, In the Heart of the Young. Also, I've never heard it referred to it as this, but it was also, you can see there's a 2 on here, Roman numerals, so it was like a Winger 2, In the Heart of the Young. They never referred to it as that. And this too is a Canadian cassette on Atlantic. This didn't do quite as well as the first album. First album went double platinum, and 17 and Headed for a Heartbreak were top 40 hits. This one had their most successful single, Miles Away, but that was the only top 40 single, although Can't Get Enough and Easy Come, Easy Go, I think both peaked at like 42 or 41, very close. There's the cassette, pretty typical. Photo of the band, lyrics, and credits. There are a few more credits. The credits go a little bit longer in the CD version. And then there was a long gap, of course. It became a very, very difficult period for bands like Winger. As a matter of fact, after this album, they went into hiding basically for many, many years, and the various members all went on to do different things. Paul Taylor, keyboard player and second guitar player, had already left at this point. He actually went on to briefly work with Steve Perry on his For the Love of Strange Medicine album. The end result, in the spring of 1993, a fine album came out, Winger Pull. They didn't use their logo for some reason on this. And this is a Canadian version on Atlantic Records. This is a great album that unfortunately came out at the wrong time. I think if they'd have put this out even a few months earlier, it might have done a little bit better than it did. There's the cassette. This is a much darker album than anything they've done before. Some great songs, great performances on here, and all the lyrics and credits. And the next thing to come out by them wasn't until 2001 when Rhino Records put out the very best of Winger on CD, which I don't think ever came out on cassette, and I don't think any of their comeback albums did either, like 4 or Karma. But anyway, great band, and I think that's all the cassettes that Winger put out. So thank you for watching this edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.